Good morning from the second age of reason. We are here on a beautiful summer morning to talk about a billion-dollar idea, or many billions of dollars idea. I was wondering, is anybody ready for the billions of dollars idea? You know, this is how we can do something that's really cool, because I think we've only been seeing one half of the picture. One half. I recently received a survey, and the survey was regarding consumption and consumerism, and it was saying, do you think you consume too much? You know, the Western world nations consume so much stuff compared to the rest of the world, and we seem to be on this constant kick for growth. And what do I think about it? I think this survey was from Greenpeace, and the more I thought about it, you come to several conclusions one way or the other. One way you think, oh, I am a human, this is my planet, we have growth. Growth is life, and so it's my right to have growth and take over the planet and consume it. Then you have another side that says, well, the planet is getting polluted and it's getting limited, and the climate is changing for the worse, and all this sort of thing. And there's a group that are talking that, you know, there's too much population, and so we have to reduce the surplus population one way or another. And you see various sides of these thought patterns coming forth, and each one is only one half of the thought pattern. It's not complete, it's not balanced. Neither side is balanced. And so I started getting on this thing in the comment sections about balance. The whole universe is a balanced equilibrium of things. Otherwise, it would either collapse or explode. And on Earth, we're seeing this, and that we're either in the collapsing or exploding phase. And the fact is, it's that way because there's no balance, or a lack of balance. And even though it may not be instantaneous and immediate, it is inevitable. So, here's the thing that I was getting at. Consumption. Consumption is not necessarily a problem. Growth is not necessarily a problem if it's balanced. So here's the thing about consumption. We're consuming the resources of a finite planet. And if we continue on the idea that we can consume and consume and consume, eventually, what we're consuming will run out. Depletion, it's called. And some have proposed recycling. But recycling is not much different. You're still taking all the stuff that you've taken from the planet, and you're just reusing it over again. You remake it, rebuild it a little newer, you know, and that way you could extend it, but you are still consuming. The opposite of consume is replenish. So what I'm proposing is replenishment economy, a replenishment industry. This one has been totally missed. Everything is towards consumption. But a replenishment industry would do stuff like the concept, let's pick a concept now. For instance, forestry and logging. The idea is that you can forest and you cut down trees. But you can't keep cutting down trees indefinitely. Eventually you run out of trees. So you make a policy that says replant and grow more trees back. Okay, so if you have 10,000 acres of forest, How much forest can you cut down in a year? Well, that depends on how long it takes to grow a tree. So if it takes 30 years to grow a tree, then you can cut down 1/30 of the forest every year and replant it, and by the time you work your way around back, the new set of trees will be in place. That's called replacement and replenishment. That way everything keeps renewing itself and you replenish it. Now, another form of replenishment would be energy. Now we keep spending energy and putting it into the environment, into the air. But do we put any energy back? Well, it would take energy to do that, and that would pull energy out of the system. Well, yes, and that is the balance. But the oil companies will say, but we can't put the oil back in the ground. It's burned up, it's gone. Well, maybe there is a trade-off there. Now, they're trying to do something with something called carbon taxes. They're known as cap and trade or tax and trade or whatever. And it's done wrong. There's a concept there about replenishment. So perhaps as companies pull the energy out of the ground, you can't put it back in the ground because you just end up pulling it back out of the ground again. But you can replace it with another energy. So if we make the policy on the energy companies that they replenish the energy supply, and they can pull out so many megawatts of oil, but then they have to give back so many megawatts of solar, wind, tidal, geothermal, something else, put something back that does not take from the earth. So maybe you wouldn't do the geothermal, but still, there are other forms of energy available. And I'm just thinking that if we would start making replenishments, which is kind of, you might think of it as sort of a super recycling thing, or just, you know, giving back to the earth. So there's something for the future generations. People just think, oh, well, we have enough energy for 100 years. We have enough coal for 300 years. Well, some people believe we've been on the earth for thousands or millions or billions of years. What happens when that 300 years is up? Well, it doesn't have to be up if you're replenishing the earth. Not recycling, replenishing. So, I think nobody's ever thought of the replenishment aspect of it. They are totally on the take, and consume. Because there's really no profit in replenishment because you're putting back. But I think you have to balance that. That's part of the cost of consumption. Part of the cost of growth is replenishment. So I think that's a possible multi-billion-dollar idea for somebody if you can sell replenishment. The trouble with these taxes like they have for cap and trade or on cigarettes or on fuel is they're like a punitive punishment tax, because you're consuming something that can't really be brought back. You're consuming your health, you're consuming the energy, you're consuming something, and it's getting out of balance, so you're paying this penalty. The trouble is those penalties, they should be paid towards the replenishment process, towards the repairing process, the healing process, but they aren't. They're pulled into other discretionary things. So I just thought I'd mention that, because just punitive taxes are not going to cut it. We have to come up with replenishment. So that's all my thoughts for today. Replenishment of the planet is a new industry that hasn't hardly been scratched or looked at yet. So until later, we'll be seeing you.
you.